Hello, welcome to NLP and the Coronavirus Day. I haven't a clue. 30 something like that. But I know it's a lot longer than that. I'm just counting the ones where I've actually done a video. In some weekends I haven't done that. And obviously I didn't do one yesterday. Apologies for that. I decided to break away from the new normal. A number of restaurants around here had opened up for takeaway. So I thought, well, look, let's not just have what I've been having all the time at home. Let's order a takeaway. And that did turn out to be a bit of a mistake. And, there is no failure, only feedback. And I got the feedback yesterday morning. So yes, that's probably more information than you needed. And, I thought it was hot on the way in, but, this is the thing about these recordings now. You see, when I'm on stage and I'm live and I say something, I see the look on people's faces and they go, did he really say that? But of course it's gone. But now you can actually rewind it and find out if I did really say that. And well, there you go. Curiosity. And thank you so much for everybody that put up on my post where I apologize for not being here last night and giving me healing wishes and wishing me well. That I really, really do appreciate it so much. And it has worked. I'm not quite at 100%, and I'm getting there. And I'm back on our lives. So I just want to take a little bit of a different tack tonight. With what's been going on in the world. This might be a little bit more for my UK viewers than my international viewers, but that could also be a bit of a mind read because, all we have really for what's going on in the rest of the world is via our media channels. And who knows how reliable they are, how truthful they are, or any of those kind of things, right? And, we've been talking a lot in previous Facebook Lives about, the challenge that people have been having because the certainty outside has kind of evaporated, disappeared, or so it appears to have done. I don't actually believe there was certainty outside ever, really. But there was an illusion that was certainty outside. And then it kind of like, boom, that certainty outside disappeared. Or if you like, there's a new certainty outside, which is uncertainty. And a lot of people have struggled with that. And we talked about, find the certainty inside of you. With your beliefs, create your own certainty. And I think we've done a lot of that. And we particularly worked around this model, which for those of you new to NLP comes from Robert Dilts. It's called Neurological Levels. It's a model that I use a lot. It's a model that I like, even though there are certain people in NLP that don't. And we've been really working down here at the beliefs and values level and how, our purpose, our values, our beliefs can stream upwards to create the kind of results that we want in our life, even in times of uncertainty. And, that is a really important aspect because I see so many people at the moment that are going out there and learning new skills and abilities to work in this new virtual world that we're in. And if their beliefs and values aren't aligned, they could still go like, okay, now I know how to do a Facebook Live, but it scares me, or I don't believe I can do it, or I don't believe anybody would be interested, which is, so then, even they've got this, because of this, they still don't create the result they want. So we've been looking at that a lot, this inside out approach. But all I want to talk about briefly this evening is the outside in approach, because, I did or I have in the past changed Robert Diltz's model of neurological levels and put results out here, whereas he originally had environment out there. I think it was in the book Changing Belief Systems with NLP. He had environment out here, which is, the environment that's around us. And I want to look at that this evening because we've been looking this way, but there is something we need to be aware of that way, in that when the environment changes, it has the potential to change our behaviors, to have us shut down certain skills and abilities. I'm not saying that we lose those skills and abilities, but shut down those skills and abilities, but equally to affect our beliefs and to affect our values. My personal belief system is that no matter what changes in the environment, it would never change our life purpose, what we came here for. That's my model of the world. I know other people would have different ones than that, but my belief is that we all come here with a particular life purpose, something, some purpose to fulfill. Whether we actually fulfill it or not is another question, but we do come in with this thing to fulfill some particular purpose. So I think this one's, safe about the environment, though equally the environment we put ourselves into might prevent us from actually achieving our purpose or cause a conflict with our purpose, our values, and our beliefs. But I want to particularly look at this because what's happened is, because of current day situations and circumstances, wherever they may have come from, and there's varying models of the world as to where those situations and circumstances have come from, how they've been created, the purpose around them, whether there is a purpose, or any of those kinds of things. I don't want to talk about that tonight. Yeah. What I want to talk about is the impact that your environment has on your behaviors, particularly because, the environment that many of us lived in before was, let's say that we go to work. So, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, you'd set the alarm, you would get out of bed and you get dressed, you get showered, whatever it is, put your costume or your uniform that was the appropriate one to wear for your environment, and then you would leave the house and you would go and do that. You might even have a specific time for lunch, specific break times, and then a specific finishing time. And then you would come back home, take your uniform off, take your costume off, if you like, and put another one on for the other role that you play. And that you had multiple roles in your life. And those roles were kind of like time-based and sequential. Whereas, I'm talking to a lot of people at the moment, and what's happening is, well, one is, you're staying in the house potentially, 24 hours a day. Even if it's not 24 hours a day, you're only out for a little while for exercising, going shopping, taking the kids out, whatever it may be. But you're having to play these multiple roles simultaneously, not sequentially. Yeah. Whereas you might have been dad first in the morning, then you went out and did manager or bus driver or train driver or, business owner, whatever it may be. And then when you came home, you went like, okay, take that off now. Now I'm dad. Or it might have been mum. And even, lots of people I've been talking to, they are full-time mothers. That's what they do. That's their life purpose, if you like. But even then, what they were doing is they were mum, and then they got the kids off to school, and then they just got to be themselves for a while. Maybe they went to the gym, maybe just hang out at home, do the housework, maybe a part-time job or business. But then you went and picked up the kids again, and then back into mum mode. for many people, all of that's disappeared. So the environment has changed massively, which has changed our behavior patterns. Yeah. And, so it's become very uncertain. Just speaking for me personally, I did a lot of live training. And when I do a live training, I was probably doing 200 days a year live training, physical training, where I had to actually get up, put on my uniform, my costume as my NLP trainer. And then I would actually drive to the venue, and then we'd do the training. It would be lunch from 1:15 to 2:15. There'd be a break every 90 minutes. We'd finish at 7 or 8, depending on the training. And then I would come home and I'd take the uniform off, the costume off, etc., and do something else. So one of my behavior patterns, which I've learned over 27 years, is that when the alarm goes off, I get out of bed immediately. There's no kind of like rolling over and snoozing. There's none of that kind of stuff. It's like, right, boom, alarm goes off, wide awake, out of bed, shower, get dressed, go. And, I learned that behavior because I couldn't take the risk of overlaying, because, if I overlaid and I look at my watch, it's like 10:30. Right. Okay. The training started at 10 and I'm still in bed. That's not going to work. And over 27 years, I think that's probably happened twice. Yeah. So it became a habitual behavior. But then, I've not been doing live trainings, and, to a certain extent, you don't have to, it's like people have been saying, well, I've been doing my Zoom meetings in my pants because I don't need to, people can only see me from up here. It doesn't matter. I come up in my pajamas down here or whatever it may be. So all of those old behavior patterns are not required anymore. But when you put people through a major change in their environment, you put people through a major change in their behavior, after a while, it creates what we might globally call stress. There's been lots and lots of research about if you dramatically change people's environment, it has the potential of having a dramatic effect on their psyche. If a person identified themselves with that, then, and you take all of that away, or they identify themselves with this and this, and you take that away, then after a while, they don't know who they are anymore. Yeah, because this is who they are. I once worked with a guy. This must be probably about 20 years ago. Very successful person, worked for a major accountancy management consultancy in the city. And he was made redundant. But because he didn't want to upset his family, didn't upset his wife, his partner, so he didn't tell them. So he continued behaving in the old way. He'd still get up, he'd still put his suit on, he'd still go out, and he'd still act as if he was a high-flying accountant. And then, but actually what he was doing, he was going to sit in the park, he was going to sit in the library. But that took a major toll on him after a while. And the whole thing just caving in because he just didn't know how to deal with it anymore. So we need to be aware of the effect that a massive change in our environment can have on these areas. It's already been well proven that a significant emotional event out here can have the potential of changing our beliefs, have the potential of changing our values. And so the thing really I want to point out here is, please be aware that this is probably, for many of us, the biggest environmental change we've ever been through in our life. I know it is for me. But then, I was speaking to my mum over the weekend, and, I've spoken to her about this before. My mum's on lockdown. Because she's in her 80s. She's doing great. She's in fantastic shape. She's exercising every day, going for a walk. And, I said to my mum, but, I know this is different, but wasn't it similar when you were a girl, you went through the Second World War? And she went like, no, it's not similar at all. And the biggest thing, which is different this time, is isolation. We're not allowed to go and see family and friends, etc. Yes, we've got technology like this, so I can phone my mum. I can speak to my sister. I can do FaceTime with my sister. I can FaceTime my friends, do Zoom calls, all that kind of stuff. But it's still isolated, and that has an impact. So really, it's not around how you change that, because, if we're going to adhere to what we're meant to be doing of isolation and social distancing and staying home, then that's not going to go away for a while. But what we need to be aware of is the impact that has on your psyche. Yeah. So really, just being kind to yourself, if every now and again you feel like you're losing it, or even every now and again you actually do lose it. Yeah. But also things that we can do around that. So yeah, the environment's changed, but here we can still create certain behaviors. We can still get up at a certain time. We can still get dressed, not saying that we're going to sit around home wearing a suit, shirt and tie or whatever. But, I always, when I present, wear a black shirt. So do I wear a black shirt all day, every day? No. Do I put on a black shirt when I'm about to do my Facebook Live? Yes. Why? Because it puts me in state. Because even though I can't see you physically, I am now in the state that I would be in if I was on stage. Yeah. So think about that. Think about some of the rituals that you used to have that have gone by the wayside. And could you bring some of those rituals back? Or are there new rituals that you can create to create in your own environment, even if it's not out there, in your own environment, that certainty of I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Yeah. And, I'm working, I'm actually doing a live training tomorrow. I've been doing a few over the last few weeks, getting myself up to here. I've been working with one-to-one clients a lot virtually over things like Zoom or FaceTime or Skype, but not so much seminars, what we call webinars. So I've been doing some of those and working out what new skills and abilities do I need to get, and what changes do I need to make to my environment to make that work. And I've got the first one tomorrow, which is interestingly about how do you do this? How do you do lives? How do you do webinars? How do you do coaching online? All of those kind of things. I've been doing a lot of work today, putting together a list of all the equipment that people need. I mean, I've been designing. It's going to be quite interesting because it's really after a little bit of like why we want to do this, need to do this, why we want to do this, and what is it that we're going to be covering It's really going to be how. How do we do this? How do we do it from a technological point of view? How do we actually make it work? It's going to be like a 3 or 4 hour demo, which I'm now quite excited about. I'm going to share something with you. I did my first live training, or hour and a half presentation, from here in my library several weeks ago, and that was the first time I'd done it. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. I was absolutely shitting myself. Sorry, Mum. Even more than I was yesterday morning. Did he really say that? Yes, he did. Because I'd never done it before. I've been presenting for like 30 years. I haven't felt nerves or stage fright I can't remember the last time. Well, I can. It was a couple of weekends ago. And, I was so nervous that I couldn't even press the button on the computer to set up the PowerPoint slides. Now, of course, have I got tools, techniques, etc. to get my state sorted out? Yes. And I did apply those. And it went really well. And the nerves and all that kind of stuff disappeared after just a couple of minutes. It was a new environment. Yeah. So, that's really my message to you tonight. One, be kind to yourself. Two, be kind to other people. We'll never know what other people are going through in here. We could do a mind read, but we'll never, no matter how good at NLP you get, you'll never know exactly what's happening for somebody else on the inside. Be kind to yourself and work around, what rituals can you bring in here to make this new environment work? If, you want to do something like this, or you're thinking like, could I really do that? But you go, but I've got no clue. We're starting at 9:30 tomorrow morning. If you want to join us for that, Get Online Fast is what we've called it. And we can still take a few people. We can't take too many more because it'll become a little bit unmanageable for the amount of Q&A and those kind of things. But we can still take some more people. I'll put the link in the comments if you would like to join us for that. And other than that, I hope that's useful. Again, thank you so much for people wishing me well when I wasn't 100% yesterday. It doesn't happen for me very often. And your love and support really was very, very important for me. So wherever you're in the world, love you lots, and ahui ho.